Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Adam Robinson, who's the creator of the world's first ever email-based retargeting software. Adam, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hey, so I understand that you traded real estate at Lehman Brothers. What made you move into tech?
So when I got to my apartment in New York, I grew up in Houston, Texas, graduated college. I got this trading job, trading credit default swaps at Lehman Brothers. And when I got to my apartment in New York, these guys who I was living with, they started a website called Vimeo.
Oh my!
And fast forward,
say no more, huh?
19 years, it's the top 10 website on the internet, right?
Wow.
So I watched these guys live. And, trading, especially these credit default swaps that I was trading, it was like the center of the financial crisis. It was really interesting. Everybody doing it was doing really well. But like these guys, their lives it was just so much higher growth, and it was so much richer, and it wasn't a building, and it wasn't just like, kind of this like extracting money out of the system for yourself. So I always had this fantasy of starting my own tech company in this apartment like these guys did. And after the financial crisis, the market that I was in got regulated, and it was kind of contracting over a few years pretty hard. And it was fairly easy for me to make the decision. I'd saved, a pile of money, and I was going to be fine for a few years trying to figure something out. It was fairly easy to make the decision to just like give up on Wall Street and at least attempt to go into tech and do something like these guys did. And, lo and behold, thank God, I built this email marketing company product that is similar to MailChimp called Robley Email Marketing. And we were able to bootstrap that to mid-seven figures off of this kind of wild customer acquisition strategy. We found 225,000 customer records of, at the time, the largest company in the space on the outside of their website. That they didn't know were there. Oh, no. And were able to so there was a 6-digit unencrypted number in the URL of a community page that they were creating for all of their customers. And that page had first name, last name, zip code, business name on it.
Wow.
So if you went up 1 digit, it was a dead page. If you went up 2 digits, it was the next customer. Wow. So we built this kind of spider that used a bunch of Tor IPs, and over it, really slowly, just hit the page, downloaded the HTML, hit the page from another IP, download the HTML. And over 3 months, we got this huge list, built a price and performance competitive product, built a call center, got 5,000 people to switch over. And that was kind of the start of a really nice lifestyle business. And, but that was a finite strategy. I didn't really love the customer base because these were really small businesses. The company that we were taking from, I'm not actually allowed to say the name of the company because of the settlement of a lawsuit unrelated to this, something totally different. You categorize them as baby boomer, brick and mortar, non-e-commerce. They're not making money off of their email. They're sending one newsletter a month. They're flower shops, they're restaurants, they're hardware stores.
So the engagement would be pretty low.
Yeah, and we were building features that if people were higher-powered email marketers, they would really like, So in an effort to try to target bigger people, we were using these tools like Clearbit, for instance, right? They have this tool, Clearbit Reveal, and it takes the IP address of a customer visiting your website, and it tells you the company that they're coming in from, but a lot of times it's not accurate. If it's not a big business, they're not going to know it. And then on the other side of the thing, there's Clearbit Enrich, which if you give it an email address, it'll tell you information about this person's company and their social profiles and all that stuff. We identified this gap, which we call the identity gap, and wanted to close it for ourselves because even the kind of bigger people we were talking to or trying to target, they were still not these huge companies, and we wanted to figure out who the people were that were on our website and connect them to real profiles. And we figured out a way to do it, and we call it, and basically we put a really light version of it inside of our Robly product and call it Robly ID. And people liked it so much, we were just like, originally it was going to be like, okay, like this email marketing space is so hard. Like MailChimp is swallowing the space. People think it's a free product. A couple guys have done a really good job at niching down against them. Klaviyo built the best tool in 2014 for Shopify. They like stuck themselves in the middle of MailChimp and this enterprise ESP called Bronto. They've absolutely crushed it. They're amazing product guys. This other ConvertKit, great tool for bloggers. The dude's a really talented marketer, nailed this affiliate distribution model, built the perfect tool for bloggers. I mean, I just couldn't figure out how to differentiate myself from this behemoth after this first acquisition strategy sort of ran out. So the original plan was like, we are going to be the only ESP that not only do we have all the features everybody else has, we will sell you data of people that are visiting your website. And I was like, that's compelling. We're going to be able to get people to switch to this thing. But then our users liked it so much, and it was so easy to sell to them. Like, this is one of these things where if you're battling it out in a space like we're battling it out, like we just don't have the right product market fit. We don't have the right whatever. It's like it's just hard, and it's hard to get people to care. And there's 160 vendors. They all have the same features. They're all kind of saying the same thing. With this other thing, it was like we sent one message out, and 250 people bought it in like an hour.
So you've got something
and
there.
They love it. Yeah. So it's just like lightning in a bottle. So we're sitting there. We're like, man, like, we should give this to everybody. Like, why would we limit it? Like, because no matter what, I am of this mindset. No matter what you give people, 80% of people are not going to switch ESPs. They're not going to switch from what's working, no matter what you tell them about yours, right? And if it's a feature that is so different, if they're not in the market for it, they're not even going to pay attention to the ad. Maybe they'll hear about it through a podcast. Maybe they'll hear about something else. But like, I was just like, this seems like it's so good. Like, we love it. Our customers love it. Why would we keep ourselves out of 80% of the market that's not willing to switch, and probably another 10% that we're not the right fit for? We're never going to catch up to Klaviyo in e-commerce, right? It's just not going to happen. So we're like, well, let's make this super lightweight SaaS app that does it does this email-based retargeting. Let's integrate it with everything. Let's make it free to start and super easy to set up. So
and you don't need to switch your email service provider. And in reality, if I'm thinking and hearing you correctly, if you have that MailChimp account or whoever, you need to email people about your product and service. So where do you get those emails from? Well, it's the traditional, would you like our e-zine, our newsletter, which is old school, nobody wants, or here's my lead magnet, and maybe some want that, maybe they don't, but your tool will find and get visitors to the website and then allow you to communicate with them through whatever tool that you're using.
Exactly. Integrate with everything. That's the other motto.
Huge.
We're working on building integrations to every single ESP at every single point in the market out there.
And so I want to say, how does it work? But I don't care about the technical or the proprietary, but I want to know, is it literally when someone comes to your website and fills out that give me more information form, yeah, we understand how that works. Your first name and your email go into a form and it drops them into your email provider, and then they can start getting your follow-ups. But how does this work where you literally are having availability to communicate to someone that merely visited your website and now you know who they are and you can communicate with them by email?
So the short story of how the technology works is there's identification graph. That's what they say. It's an ID graph, like companies out there. There's one called Bounce Exchange. There's one called LiveRamp. Like, there's a few more of them. These people have these cross-device ID in these cookie networks, and they can identify people.
Okay.
So They just can't, through, I don't know how they partner with, I don't know what they do, but like they have just placed a cookie on like a huge amount of the internet. On the other side of it, so that's one side of it, right? You got ID these people, and then you got to actually connect that ID, whatever it is, a hashed email address or whatever they give you. You need to connect it to a huge database of basically third-party opt-ins from lead gen sites, right? Everybody knows these sites. It's like finance or healthcare or whatever.
Right.
It's like you fill out a form and then you just get like called and spammed forever. Like those websites sell data any way that they can, and it's in their privacy policy in terms of service that they're going to sell your data, and you will get marketed to by related and unrelated entities. And once you put your information there and they give the data to the unrelated entity, you're subject to their privacy policy now. And that is not a legal thing in Europe. It's not legal in Canada, but in the U.S., that is 100% a CAN-SPAM compliant practice. So this is the essence of what we're doing. We're just like, tying data from, and you would be shocked at the amount of data that these guys generate on a day-to-day basis. We have this huge network of partners, and we're tying that together with existing identification technology.
So you are taking a snippet of data from someone that came to your website, which really, if the human eye saw that, you wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. And then you're connecting that to existing platforms that have already gotten actual contact email from that person. And you're like, oh, that's a match. And here's the information that we have. And again, exactly. You think about heat maps. Oh, I can see that someone came to my website and clicked on this link. That's fine. So that's the beginning of your concept, which is we know when someone comes to the website. And then I forget even what the service was a couple years back. I took a trial of something similar to this, but we stopped using it because it's like, okay, here's this person working in a large building, downtown, whatever state, and they access this website, but the IP address is tied to hundreds of companies, and who in the world knows who actually was the one on the website, and now I don't know who to communicate with. Is there a way around that with your connections there that dial it in tightly so we know probably with high probability of who the person was that came to the website so that you can communicate with them?
Oh my gosh, we give you email address, first and last name, and postal records.
Yeah, that's pretty precise.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. In a lot of bigger brands, the use case, for SMBs, I'm not sure how effective this is, but a lot of bigger brands, direct mail is getting increasingly less competitive as all the flow is going into digital. So people are setting up targeted direct mail campaigns because there's on-demand direct mail API-driven services now that are triggered based upon landing page hits. So they can send out a postcard the next day if somebody's on like a high-intent page of their website, which is a fantastic use case because the price of these records, they start at like $0.25 or something like that. So to answer your question, that's why this is so novel. That's what we call it the identity gap, right? The gap between these people in these high buildings and who the actual person is. Email-based retargeting closes that gap. Get emails is the first tool to do it, and it's working. I mean, it works for people.
And so when I hear the word retargeting, I think of Facebook or Google, where they know you came to a page, and then you start seeing other ads that go, hey, you came to this page, wouldn't you like to buy this thing now? And that makes sense because you came there and now you're going to get retargeted. In fact, I heard saw a funny Facebook post, and this guy goes, is it wrong for me to log into my wife's account on Facebook and then visit all the cool birthday and Christmas websites that I want to go to, knowing that she'll start getting retargeted, and maybe that's a hint to buy me for. So I know how retargeting works, but how does email retargeting work? Because is it literally now this ID gap gives you the data, and now you can put them in your internet or your email service provider, or is there another step in between where something gets retargeted from your software before they can get put into your email service provider?
No, it'll just go straight into your email service provider. Okay. We provide the landing page link that person landed on your website. So if you want to get really sophisticated, we recommend everybody. So this is moving email marketing farther up the funnel. There's substantially less intent with these people than there is with somebody who opted in. But the leads are very inexpensive, but you need to nurture them. They're not going to convert. So a normal email list of, like, let's say an e-commerce company are people that asked you to email them, they opted in, and it's people that have purchased from you before. Yeah. If you look at that and then you look at a pool of prospects that were just on your site and didn't even opt in and definitely didn't buy anything, like that first email list, your normal traditional email marketing list, will convert a lot faster and at a lot higher rate than the other one will. So you need to evaluate this stuff over a longer period of time, and you really need to warm these people up with a ton of free value before you kind of try to sell them anything. Get them to, it's just marketing, right? Like, you need to build trust.
Because they consciously did not engage with your brand. Exactly.
But you can do that. You can build trust, and it improves your reach either way. Your net is now wider as a result of doing this. So there's no step in between us getting the record and sending it to you. It's all about you deciding, do you want to go on every page, or do you just want it on your high intent pages? Do you want to put people on 2 different high intent pages in 2 different flows, or do you want everybody in the same flow? So that part of it is up to you. I think when you're just starting out, go with the high intent pages, try to get it working over a couple months, and then if it's just a slam dunk, then put it on every page. But if not,
and it's almost like you would use these contacts as a warm up indoctrination to your actual, if you want to think of it like a lead magnet or a download item. Like, you want to sell them on just getting them into that flow, not, hey, I saw you visited our website, buy my thing. They're like, what? That's creepy. But maybe if it was, hey, have you ever worried about blah, blah, blah? We put together this great research report. If you'd like to download it, here it is. And they go there, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, let me download that. And now they're in your follow-up sales sequence, maybe. And I'm sure there's a dozen and one ways that you can use that technology.
Yeah, well, I think there's kind of 2 different things people go for with this technology. One, if they're just selling products, it's e-commerce, then they're going for the sale. But if it's kind of like one of these like wisdom product businesses, which is really good for also, you're going for the opt-in. And the whole math of it is, I'm paying $3 for an opt-in. So if I can get these leads for 25 cents and spend $1.50, getting them to opt in, then it's magic,
It's all a numbers game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So then, so now whenever I hear things like this, and we're kind of getting into the weeds with, connections and platforms and APIs and can spam, and someone goes, okay, I like the concept, but I don't know what to do with all this stuff. If someone goes, I'm in, let's get this started, how easy or hard is it to get it set up and coded and all that type of thing?
So it's just taking this one little JavaScript thing and putting it on your site, and we have like the guides for WordPress and Wix and Shopify and all that, and it just doesn't take any time at all. If you have a tech person, or what they used to call a webmaster, we literally have this button that's like, email someone on my team. It like writes the email. The email's all written for you with the code in there. You just put their email address and sends it to them. And then once it's on there, we have a way for you to press this button and verify that it's working the right way. So that part of it's simple. If you've already, this is one of those situations where, similar to Facebook retargeting, right? Like, Facebook retargeting really only works for people that have like effective digital funnels. If you don't have product market fit and you can't do digital advertising, like, Facebook retargeting is not going to work for you. If you're setting up your drip marketing for the first time and hope to make this technology work, it's not going to happen, right? Like, because you don't have a good foundation. If you know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing and you have all this stuff set up, this is a super easy way to just like maybe create some other, related sort of less, more gentle warm-up flow, and just send all these people in there and take that into the rest of your system. It's easy in the sense that you don't really stop anything that you're doing. So, a lot of the e-commerce brands that we work with, they just put them into the same welcome series that somebody gets when they sign up for their newsletter, and it works fine for them. They end up acquiring customers on like a 60-day look back at around the same price that they're getting them through Facebook. So yeah, it's I look forward to this thing growing because I'm just excited about seeing a lot of truly gifted marketers on it and seeing what they do with the email addresses and then sharing those case studies.
Yeah, I remember a conference a couple years back, and I forget which one it was, but I remember seeing one of the sound bites that came out of it, and one of the keynotes said, it's all about the pixels. It's all about, knowing who came to your, whatever it was, your piece of content, so you can retarget them and follow up and stay in front of them. Well, this is not pixel-based, I understand necessarily, but it's the same concept. Something got them to your website. Now, they didn't opt in, they didn't buy, but something got them there. You got to be able to stay top of mind to get them to the next step, which then gets them into your follow-up funnel and all those different things. So I think it's an ingenious concept, and you're not trying to go after the big guys to go switch. You're actually working with the competitors, or not the competitors, but the email service providers to go, let's get more people engaging with using your service and getting better results. So I think it's really an ingenious concept.
Yeah, I think it works for everybody. I mean, it's CAN-SPAM compliant. It even complies with best practices from Spamhaus in the U.S. It sounds weird because everybody's been trained to think if somebody didn't opt into my form, then I can't email them. That's just patently untrue. Like, that's not the CAN-SPAM law in the U.S. This third-party opt-in thing is totally kosher, and email marketing in the U.S. is actually opt-out rather than opt-in. So long as you have an opt-out link in your email, it actually opts the person out, then you can email whoever you want. The ESPs, they like it because it grows their customer lists super fast, like 10 times as fast as just having that forum on their website. So it's a great technology.
Well, let's wrap up with what is the next step. How can someone learn more, get their free trial account, and give it a try on their website?
Sure. Just go to getemails.com, and we'll give you your first 25 emails for free. And it's very self-explanatory to sign up. Just type in that URL, and it says put in your work email address, and it'll just walk you through getting the code on your site.
Perfect. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming on today. It was really great chatting with you and learning about your great service.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.